Alright, group session planning. I'm going to sit down over there, Jenna, and let's talk about it. So today, what I'm going to be talking about is the environment that we're training in. Risk assessments, the actual session planning, what we do when there's complications or the unexpected, which that always happens, doesn't it? And then delivery of the session. Okay, our location, everybody knows where it is, don't they? 12-week challenge.
Yep.
We're using, not where we had the boot camp, because Aaron's still running his boot camp there. It's down with the touch footy ovals on the corner of Greenhill and Beaumont
Are
Road.
we going to have issues like we did last time?
Possibly,
Okay.
we'll see. But there's a lot of room there, right? There's a lot of room in that area. So when you're always, when we're planning 12-week challenge session or any outdoor session, we're also planning
It's got to shift Aaron in his boot camp. They don't need that much space.
Well, we can go. There's plenty of space to do it over there. We'll set, but that's the sort of thing that we see at the start. We shouldn't have a problem with touch footy till right near the end of the challenge.
Yeah.
And by that time, we're doing lots of
That's a weakness
off-site
sport,
work.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it is, yeah.
Okay, so what do we think about the location? Do you need to see it? Planning session?
No. I'm not playing sessions.
I've seen it. So.
Yeah. But in general, so you hadn't seen it. Do you think it's important if you're planning a session,
Yes.
you need to go down there and see it?
Yep.
Okay. Why
Just
is
to
it
see
important?
how much space there is, what's around,
What you can use?
what you can use.
Yeah.
The terrain.
Also, do we think it makes a difference to the session we're planning?
Yes.
Visualising the location? Because you can write an outdoor session, you can write a session and say, this is an outdoor session, I'm going to do 3 sets of squats, 3 sets of burpees. It's a really boring session plan, by the way.
Yeah.
3 sets of sit-ups, let's say. That's what I've written. So I come in here on a Friday and I say, let me see what you planned for the session tomorrow, and you show me that. And I go, yeah, but how are you going to make it flow? How is this going to be interesting for an outdoor session? All right, so if you then go down to your Beaumont Road, that's our park there. You go down there and you look at all your trees and you've got a bench here and a bench there. You might do exactly the same thing but do it completely differently. You might say, you know what, I'm going to do instead of squats, I'm going to do 10 squats there followed by 5 each step ups on that bench. It's a safe bench to do so. And then we're going to run a lap, and then we're going to do sit-ups over here. And then we race back through the middle and do burpees. Completely different thing to what we've just written here. This you could go and do in the group fitness room. You could do it here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Visualising your environment, visualising where you're going to be training can really make just a session into something really special. Because let's face it, how many exercises are there to do? You know, session planning, PT, is not necessarily about the exercises you're choosing. Well, it is about the exercises you're
How you
choosing, but
deliver it.
it's how you present it, how, you know, what comes in between, how do you make it interesting? And Brandon said before, the fun, how to make this sort of stuff fun, because it's hard work. You know, what do you think, I think, is the most important thing about a 12-week challenge session?
It's the interaction with the members. They need to become,
Right.
like, so do partnered things, do small group things, I remember like when I first met Ray, like my first challenge I did at Burnside, came out to the group challenge, I didn't know anybody because I'd just done Durban courts, and I remember speaking to you, and I met Ray and partnered up with Ray, and we did wheelbarrows.
Oh yeah, that's
And ever since then, like, we just got on like house on fire.
Yeah.
But I would never have spoken to him if we didn't have to be partnered.
no, exactly. So it wasn't just it's that's what I definitely would say is the
Yeah.
most important thing. It's not about
Yeah.
smashing and getting a great workout.
Yeah, that's
Is it
right.
important that everybody goes home
Yeah.
smashed?
Building
You know,
relationships.
it's not a boot camp. And that's really why I want to move away from the boot camp that we did last time, because we had no interaction really between people. And the most important thing about 12-week challenge, going back to what we said before, is the group, the tribe. We're all in this together.
Like, honestly, compared to the February last year, I knew pretty much every single person in the challenge. Last one,
Didn't meet anybody.
no,
Yeah.
not really.
Because of that structured nature of the boot camp. But we tried it.
We did.
Yeah, so risk assessments. Let's talk about risk assessments for a bit. I'm going to hand around one. One of these needs to be done every session, not for every team. Can I get you, I just want everybody to think about this. Think about that location down there. Karen, you can think about a different location where you've done a 12-week challenge. You haven't seen that yet, have you?
Yeah, I know where it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, where it is.
yeah,
Have a
yeah.
think about that area, and you, with your team, who we're going to have 15 to 20 people in each team, all right? Think about sort of risks that might be involved. Can everybody actually do that? I want you to think about it. A risk assessment, of course, a proper risk assessment. You guys, you don't have to do it if you don't know the area there. Derek, you might. Just think about an area, like an outdoor location where you might do a group activity.
Just for location.
Yeah, just you visualise a location. The actual risk assessments we do are not going to be done from in the club like this. You'll actually be down there, one person on every Saturday will be doing one of these. Because it takes into account, even if it's the same location, you're still going to consider things like traffic, events
Yeah.
around there, weather.
This
If it's-
is medical emergency. Oh,
In terms of environment.
what does it mean? Like something, they need to get an airboat in there or something?
So basically, potential hazards. This is just sort of a pro forma for our fields. We can add things that we think are relevant to 12-week challenge. If you think there's anything we should add on here, we can. But what we mean by medical emergency is, do we have first aid kit at all times? Are we all qualified first aid CPR? You will be, Jack. Does where might this? No, seriously, where might this be a really high hazard medical emergency? Not that location. Think of a location where this might be a real issue. Medical emergency. We're going to put a high risk. Where? Mount Lofty. Halfway up Mount Lofty. You haven't got a phone service. How in the hell? What are you going to do if somebody has a heart attack? What are you going to do? Generally, you're not carrying a first aid kit, so that becomes a really quite a high risk. This is the purpose of doing risk assessments. Down there, fairly low risk of everything. You know, you're away from the traffic.
I said slips, trips and black holes and slippery surfaces.
Did you put
So
low,
I put
medium or high?
High.
High,
If it
really?
rains.
Can
The
be.
grass is slippery.
But that's why you can't do
doing
it
this
from
every
here.
week.
If you go down there now and you walk along and you go, oh, actually, this is really good, you'd probably put medium.
Yeah, well that's right.
It's never going to be low on a grass area,
Yeah.
but medium. Yeah, but in the middle of winter, at the start of the August challenge, yeah, it's high. There's divots everywhere. So this is what's so important.
Slippery, yeah.
Let's talk this through. Slippery, uneven surfaces, yeah.
Ditches and holes and...
Traffic area, hit by vehicle. I'd put low there, even though, because where we're actually training, we're not doing the risk assessment walking from our car to the training area, it's just the training area. Heat source, that's a real issue. If we were going out there and doing it today, 38 degrees, high.
I was at 38 degrees today.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But if it's early morning, it should be alright.
Yeah, it is, most of the time, rainstorm. So this is a really basic risk
I guess
assessment.
the
You
idea
can
is
see.
not to run a boot camp at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a 40 degree day. I know one personal trainer who did that and I was like, what are you doing, you twat?
And here, on the second part of it, the controls implemented, see they're written there, there's some suggestions there, but whenever I do a risk assessment, I go across. So say we've gone, okay, slips, trips, falls, it's August, there's divots all over the place. What sort of things can we do to negate, like lower the risk?
To try and maybe shift it
Shift it,
slightly
yeah.
to the left or to the right or where it's
Yeah.
not going so bad.
Other things, we can put cones on really bad areas,
Yeah.
avoid this area. We can't like rake out the area, we can only do what we can do. For say if it's a really hot day, it's a really hot morning, we're not gonna say, oh sorry everybody, you don't have to turn up. We're still doing it. We're doing it early in the morning, but it's still pretty hot. What are some
Fluids and make sure you bring plenty of water.
so that would be,
sunscreen,
who would that
hats.
be up to?
You, to send it out
Mhm.
to warn people. Like
But who's doing the risk assessment?
Whoever's on site, the trainers.
I would, if I knew it was going to be a hot day, do it anyway. But you as team leaders, you're going to have your team's group saved in your phone. I would be sending them a text. You're getting out there, you're going, shit, it's a hot morning. Don't forget, bring heaps of water. And what else could we do to control this risk?
Are we doing a group rotation?
I wasn't going to. I was going to go back to keeping the same group. That worked really well. That was the best challenge we did, keeping the same group.
But then that's isolating people again.
No, it's not, because I'll move forward specifically to 12-week challenge, how we're going to negate that.
Okay, alright.
Okay? Move it into the shade. Yeah. I don't know, bring out big
I'd
buckets
do
of
that.
water, have a water fight at the end. I don't know, there's lots of things. I wouldn't put that on my risk assessment, but things that you have to consider. Medical emergency, obviously first aid kit covers it. Also, I did have the famous day that I had 2 girls stunned by pinch ants. One girl had breathing difficulties and we couldn't find a chemist open and nobody had antihistamine. From now on, I've got antihistamine in my first aid kit. bear in mind, I'm not going to be there at the start of most sessions, so we're going to have to organise a first aid kit, and someone has to be responsible for taking it every time, having it in their car. Does anyone have a sports first aid kit in their car?
I've
You're
got
not
one at
in-
home in my pantry.
Is it a sports one?
It's got bandages and everything in it.
Ice packs?
Yeah, well, not ice packs. It's the only thing it doesn't have.
Yeah, you're not
Everything
in
else, though.
for the first chat.
Yeah.
I thought you said you would be.
What? Oh, the first one I'm going to be there. First one. I'm not always going to be there every week because I have to spread myself.
Alright,
Same
because
thing with me,
I
can't
won't
guarantee
be
I'm
around,
gonna
remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the first 3
First one.
Saturdays.
Oh, it was 3, was it?
Yeah, I'm planning up on the Saturday or the third one. I'm not sure if I could make it in time.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, I have to remind myself of that. Remind me again next week when I forget that.
When you forget, okay.
Yeah. But you're not here for the weigh-in day. You're not here for the second
I
one.
am in for the the next one.
Yeah.
I'll be doing the photos.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Of course.
Yeah,
Then 2 after that.
Are we going to be finished in
Then
10 minutes?
yeah, 3 after
We'll
that.
finish it off.
Alright, cool. Oh, thank you.
Okay. Closer to that, I'll come in and cover for you. I'll get, we've got Gita as well. She can come in and cover for you. All right. So, first aid kit. We have to look at that next week. We have to lock that in.
Are we? Oh, we done that, so can't we
So I reckon what we might do is get you.
Oh dear.
We might get you, Jenna, to have yours in your car all the time.
Yeah.
And I've
I don't
got.
have any ice pack things though, but I've got like actual ice packs.
What I used to do is before I
In my
come out every
fridge.
day, I just pull my ice packs out of the fridge and stick
Oh,
it in the
that's
cooler bag.
yeah, that's exactly
every
what
day.
I've got.
Yeah.
I figure I don't need those instant ones.
No.
I think they're crap.
They're terrible and they're not cold enough.
Yeah.
Okay, what? Let's go on to actually planning group session. I want to cover this main thing I want to cover today. What makes a great session? Group session.
Interaction, fun.
Fun.
It comes down to fun. It really does. I think it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
If it's not fun, it's boring.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that it's not too challenging. People need to get a sense of achievement that they push themselves, they achieved this, they did something.
Exactly.
We also have to make sure that although when you look at some of the things that we can do as trainers and maybe even some of our clients, not everyone is going to be able to do that at that level.
Exactly right. Most people in the challenge are going to be fairly
Basic, very basic.
Most people. So what do we do about the really fit ones?
Make them do more.
It's easy. Modifications. We'll be more. You know how often in a training session you're modifying for an injured person? Most of the time we're going to be modifying for the fit people.
Yeah.
So we pitch it at a lower level and you're modifying both ways. There's lots of ways to do that, and that's something that we talk about. I just want, at this stage, I want you to be aware of how you're going to have to modify and do it on the fly. But as the weeks go on and when we, in meetings and training sessions, we can talk about ideas and how to do that if anybody's struggling with it. You've done a few now, Brandon, you're not going to struggle with that. You're not going to struggle. So let's talk about how you brought up about separate groups. How can we make the group feel one as a whole? My idea, what I want to do, is do all the warm-ups and all the cool-downs are done together, so the whole group gets in together. Warm-up is a great bonding experience. I like to actually spend about 15 minutes on warm-up, 10 to 15 minutes. And the way I do it is I do shuttle runs, fairly athletic warm-up. And what I want to do, the worst thing that you can do in a group warm-up where you've got all the 12-week challenge participants, they're doing their shuttle runs and the trainers are standing on the sidelines. We're not doing that ever. All trainers get involved.
My gosh is bad for that.
Oh, I hate
They're
that.
terrible for that.
Yeah. So all trainers involved. Make it fun. Races, So my shuttle runs, I pretty much go, you can do it differently if you like, as long as the whole group is engaged together. So
I
we
think
set
star
out.
jumps. I think star jumps are great.
You can, this is what I
Okay.
do. This is what I do because it is easy and everybody can do it together. You mark these
Someone
out.
write star jumps in their workout and they'll be stoked.
So set out 30 metres and you pretty much get people to run that way and they always walking back. So it's effort that way, walking back. So everybody goes together. So if I'm running the session, I say, right, everybody line up, we're doing warm up. Everybody, just 4 straight run throughs. And they just start jogging. Warm up, the rules. It starts off slow, we gradually bring up the intensity. 4 straight jogs, then you come back. The next one, side to side shuttles. It could be anything. And then they walk back. So with side to side shuttles, you get them facing that way, they turn around, and that side, they're facing that way. I'll do the first warm up anyway, everybody's going to see it.
You do high knees as well, don't you?
I do high knees, I do heel kicks, I do 4 straight run throughs.
Trying to remember it.
4 run through, 2, I do high knees next, 2 heel kicks, 2 side to side, 2 run and touch, what I call run and touch. It's a run and squat, touch each side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, take 5 steps squat, so they're doing a range of motion through their legs. And then I like to do skips or something where you can challenge the participants next to you to race you. You go, right, big high skips, and then you get next to someone and you say, come on, let's make it a race. And that makes it fun. They're already having fun in the warm-up. Skipping, if you're going hard, skipping really takes it out of you. They're going to be, ooh, at the end of it, this is the warm-up, geez, what's going to come next? So that there, Jenna, is an answer to your question. The warm-up is going to be a big part of the session. Then everybody splits into their groups, so they go out to your trainers. That first session, we're going to be allocating, I will have worked out the teams, and everybody will learn their trainers, and after every warm-up, that's how they'll be split. So the actual content, how long is it going to be? 35 minutes, 40 minutes. So when you're writing a session plan, you're going to interrupt that section of
So
it.
we're going to do 10-minute warm-up, 10-minute warm-down, roughly?
Cool down's not as long, really.
No?
It's more just stretching, everybody chatting. We'll get the big circle, one person runs it, and you go through all the same stretches so people know what to expect. Stretch up, hold it, lean one
So
way,
yeah,
then
so
the
go-
other way,
so
bend
go-
over. I will do both of those in the first week, so you
So-
see exactly what to do.
So in like the first, so 15 minutes for the warm-up, cool-down, and then say 35 minutes for content. And then
35, 40, and then 5.
And then 5 minutes for sort of changeover, sort of in between stuff. Okay.
So 35 minutes of content is planned about 40.
And then
So when we-
are we going to rotate the groups like we did last time?
No, that's what you just asked me that before.
No, meaning like stations, so trainers will stay and then
No.
people will go around and do 3 different stations.
We can do it
Isn't
on a
that what we did?
No, that's what we did, the first one you came into. The one before that, I just ran straight teams,
Oh,
where that person
yeah.
was responsible for their team. Everybody was in the same area. It worked really well
Alright.
because as the challenge went along, we were about week 4 or 5, there was some real competitiveness. And we would come together and have games, we'd have races, we did a sports day, we did all sorts of fun stuff. So there was lots of interaction between the groups without them actually swapping around. So they got used to their trainer, they got very loyal to their trainer, which is awesome. Why? For the PTs out there taking the group, they're going to remember you forever. So I want to run it like that. I'm open to, after the halfway, if you say, oh, let's do a swap the trainer day. That'd be fun. Why don't we do that? So I don't want anybody to get too caught up in doing the same type of session all the time. Don't be the person that they go, oh, look at that team over there, and you're just doing shuttle runs and burpees. You know, think outside the square. Try to have a different feel to your session.
And I think even as trainers, because we're not really competing against each other, so if we have an idea or workout that works really well on that week, we
let
can
someone else
recycle
use it.
that,
Yeah, exactly.
and another team can use it for 2 weeks later so that they don't
Great
recognize it.
idea. And that's the good thing about running separate teams too. You look across, like I remember one activity Caitlin did famously one year that I loved it. I watched her do it from the distance and I've been using it in my sessions ever since. Those over-unders, where you've got one person holding a plank like this, and their partner has to jump over them and then crawl under them. And I use that all the time. And we used it, the other teams used it as well, as soon as they saw it. So when you see something working well, absolutely use it.
So I think
really
even as trainers, we could pool our resources together
Yes.
and make things easier for us, make things fun for us.
Yeah. So, you know, you might go to Jenna, oh look, I really like what you were doing the other day, and take a section of it. You don't have to take the whole session plan, just a section
Just
of it.
take what I like.
Because a group session, another thing that's really important is you're not just doing, like I said before, 3 sets of that, 3 sets of that, or the good old boring circuit. You know, when I say to people, plan me a group session, they go, oh, 1 minute there, 1 minute, 1 minute, it can be boring. Alright? It's working out ways to really make it engaging for the person. That is up to the trainer. It's not about exercise choice. It's absolutely the enthusiasm that you have. There's many, many different ways to do it. You might have a focus on one week. Brandon might say, right, today we're doing, obviously you're probably going to do a Muay Thai.
Yeah, I want to make
Of
people
course.
punch stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
Today we're punching stuff. That's what he'll call it. He might have wrestling, you know, that will be his theme for that day, but don't get stuck into always doing it. You might, the next week, so you two are on the same team, you might say, oh Brandon, let's do something athletic. And you do all athletic and agility drills. That's always been fun. I've got all the agility stuff, I can bring it out. Between us, we've all got quite a lot of equipment. You might say, I like taking a session where I go, okay, today is a medicine ball session. No matter what you do, you're not letting go of this medicine ball. Either you or your partner have to carry out the whole session, no matter what we're doing. And that becomes a really interesting session. So you see what I'm talking about? Like getting a theme and sticking with it. It's that interest will keep their mind off pain they're going through. So really open up your mind. Like get on Google ideas online. Talk to other trainers who've done this sort of stuff. Tom done lots of athletic stuff with footy. Talk to him about the sort of stuff they do. And to me, I've been doing group training sessions for 10 years. I've got 1,000 session plans. And I'll give you my books if you want them, just for ideas. So, yeah, so the point I'm making there is try not to get stuck in that cycle of this is just what I do in my session. The getting back to what I said, the most important thing, it's all about the exercise choice, it's the structure and the flow. Structure and flow. And having, a bit of a backup. You said before, Derek, it's better to have too much than not enough. Yeah, true. Sometimes having too much can look like you're rushing and it doesn't hold together very well. If you don't know how long something takes, what do you do?
Are you planning?
No. If you don't know how long a particular, say you write a little segment of exercise.
Can I use my phone? Is that disturbing?
Yeah, no. If you don't know how long a particular segment takes, so say it's part of your plan, say part of Brandon's plan is, okay, we're going to have, I've got 30 metres, I've got one person here, that person has to run up there, do 10 squat jumps, run back and do 50 straight cross punches. And he's planning how many times he's going to do that. Do you know how long that'll take? Exactly?
No.
What are you going to do? He's going to do it. Yeah, you do it. You get out there and do it. When I'm writing a session plan, I actually like to be in the location, but it depends what type of session plan you're writing. If I was going to go, okay, I'm going to do 30 squats and then I'm going to do 40 skips. Well, how long will that take in my session plan? I'm actually going to get down there and do my 30 squats, 30 skips time. Right, okay, now I get a sense. That took a minute 40. I want to do 4 rounds of that because I want to spend about 6 minutes at it. You're always working on timing. That's what structure and flow is. Really important. You can't just go, I'll write a list of exercises and let's see where we get to. Because what if you get to halfway in the middle and it doesn't really hang together as a session? You know what I mean? You don't just keep going till your time runs out. You plan your session around the time you come.
And if any activity that we haven't done it ourselves before, it still be good to do it so that we know it's too difficult or it's not.
Never ever give a client something you haven't done yourself. Will we all agree with that? You're not going to say to a client, oh look, I'm going to write this session plan that she's going to jump over this blue box. Oh, yeah, that'll challenge her. Can you do it? Can anyone? Is it possible to do, there's some combinations you put together and you try them yourself, oh geez, that was much harder than I thought it was going to be. Lucky I didn't give that to the brand new 12-week challenge participants, they would never come back. And that was a little bit of a problem we had last time with boot camp, is it was way too hard for most of those people, even at its basis level. So structure. So sometimes I rather run short than have too much and try to get through it. Because if I've got a session where I've got 3 segments to it, so say I've done sort of a leg focus here, there's lots of different ways to do a session here. Say I've done a leg focus there and an upper body there and a core there. If I get to the end and I've got 8 minutes left, I might take a little segment out of each and just do a little circuit at the end of some of those exercises, or say to the group, pick one exercise you've done today, all right, and do this with it. Sometimes imagination and good session planning comes from actually leaving yourself a bit of time. Because you don't always know what's going to happen in the session. You can write your session, you can plan it as much as you like, but sometimes you have to modify as you go. Sometimes you can, so say you're doing a shuttle running type thing, you don't envisage how far behind the more unfit ones are going to get, you have to modify on the fly. Okay, what am I going to do? Right, for this group here, I want you only running to the 15 metre mark. For you, all the rest of you continue running to the 30, so you sort of split and modify as you go. Cool down and stretch, so we talked about that before. I think, I don't sort of do shuttle run cool downs, probably should do, or probably should walk around as a group, but I tend to rather put more time into the content and then just call everybody together and say, right, we're going to be calling down 2 minutes, call out to the rest of the team. Usually we've got somebody there overseeing the three. We're not going to have that all the time because I won't be in every session and stuff. So as a group, so you've got to look across and say, hey, how long you got to go? It's that, right? 4 minutes, bringing it in 4 minutes, and then everybody comes in together, gets their water, sits down, relax, we stretch, we banter, talk about next week. This is where you might have met someone in the group that wants a little bit of help with programming or something like that. Say, oh, you know, I've got a bit of time now, do you want to come up and see me in the gym? That's where you do all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to do the first one, warm up to cool down. After that, you're going to be taking turns. You know how I do it. You've seen me do the warm up and cool down many times, not from the boot camp, but from previous challenges. Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, the unexpected. What happens? Complications. We get out there, there's 5 girls touch footy teams all over the oval. You planned your session for that nice, smooth bit of area where we think this happened in one of the challenges terribly to me, that there was no space to do it, and we ended up in the rough under those gum trees.
The change.
But you could still meet there and then move them in to the beyond where the boot camp.
Yeah, exactly. You just wait and then find somewhere else. It does. So I suppose what I'm getting at here is for location complications. Before you start the challenge, get down there and you walk the whole of Victoria Park and look for alternative areas. Say, okay, if there's someone here, I can always use this area. If it's really hot, this area is shaded. Okay, what am I going to do? Yeah. I always go down there at 8 o'clock on the Saturdays before, like this week, is it tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be there between 8 and 9 because I want to see what's going on there. I did that one year and then, what did they have on, the colour run or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
There was some big community event on and we couldn't even get close to it with our cars. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Remember that? So other complications we're going to come across, what might they be?
Injuries.
Injuries, that's the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
People come out first session, they're in the second shuttle of the warm-up. Oh, I've done my calf. What do? Send them home?
Yeah.
They stay with their group. I've said that to 12-week challenge participants. I would rather you be sitting there on that bench. You can take photos. You're with your tribe. You're with your group. It's better than being at home in bed. You come out, you can do something. It's hard to modify. I mean, it's okay to modify someone with a leg injury. Calf's a bit hard because they've sort of got to hobble along. Shoulder injury is really difficult. But you do your best you can. You don't want to create a modified session for this person so they don't feel part of their group. So what might that mean? If you're doing, say we've organised a session where you've got, Brandon's got his running and boxing. What if I've got a shoulder injury, a pinch here, I can't do this, can't do push-ups. What are you going to do with me so I feel like part of my tribe? I can still run.
You still can run along, or you can punch with the other hand. The other
You
arm.
can do one arm,
Yep.
maybe do kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or the other thing that I've used with an injured person, so say you've got partners like that, if you've got an injured person, attach them to another person and they just do what they can of that person. They're like a double, they run along together. So you're not, because an injured person, if you're working partnered groups, can often slow down their partner. So you just put them with an existing group and then you just have to do your best you can so they get the most out of what they're doing. Be careful with modifying that you don't just, if they've got an upper body injury, that they don't just have a session of doing squats and lunges. We'll bore the hell out of them. Oh, you just do some more lunges and we'll be over here doing the fun stuff. Oh, okay, we're doing planks now, you just do some lunges. Oh, it's terrible. And they get so disgruntled. So you've got to be a little bit, you've got to be aware of them, but don't ignore your group. If you're having trouble with someone in your group that it's really hard, see if there's someone free from another group, because I know that Caitlin will be coming out there, Gita will be coming out. Try to get the floaters to help. So you've got Jack and Elle, both pretty experienced trainers. You might say, oh look, Elle, can you come over and help this person through this part of it? If your segment of the session is so sort of intense and requires your attention that you feel like you're not giving your best. So use the other trainers right out there. I think you're going to be able to get out to a few, aren't you?
The first few.
First few, yeah. That's really where it's important when we've got the bigger groups. As it goes on, we do get that drop off. We end up with groups, we'll probably have 10, 12 in each group, and then you know them really well. The people who are injured know how to sort of modify themselves. It becomes a lot easier. So injuries, yeah, so that's the most important thing I want to say about that we modify them, we keep them in the group and engaged. Weather, rain or shine, we do it. 12-week challenge session goes ahead no matter what. If it's lightning or something like that, we might, meet at one of those undercroft car parks on Greenhill Road or something like that, but we'll take it out of the weather, but just rain, that won't stop us. So I want to talk a bit about delivery of the session and motivation, but the main thing I'm talking about is the trainers being involved. That's standing on the sidelines, saying you do this, you do that, glass wrap around sunnies on, I hate that. Don't do that. That's not 12-week challenge. We're not a boot camp, we're not a rah-rah yell. There's no punishments in 12-week challenge. I really don't want that at all. So if it's a real technique in group sessions, would you say, Derek, you said before, that they say, right, if the last person, everybody has to do push-ups till the last person gets there, how does that make that person feel? In most personalities, they're just going to get demoralised. So 12-week challenge, we don't do that. If you're doing an activity where you're going to have some people finishing last, absolutely encourage all the others to go back and get them, and everybody finishes together, or to cheer them on. Also, the other thing I wanted to talk about is setting an example as a PT. Right? If you can't do something for injury or prior condition, I suggest you don't show it out there. I don't know about you. I know some trainers think, no, I think it's a good idea to talk about my injuries, But I famously had a PT here who had a heart condition, or she said she had a heart condition, that's why she couldn't run. And she would frequently send her group running around the oval, and she would go with them, but she was always the first one to stop running. And then all the participants would stop with her and walk with her while she'd do it all up. It was terrible. We don't want that image either. We need to, we don't need to seem like gods, but you do need to seem like you need to appear as if you have the adequate physical abilities to be able to instruct someone. You need to be able to do it. Something new, things that you do, you need to be impressive about. It's like, I think it was you I was talking to, Tom, I don't need to be able to do 15 chin-ups, but I do need to be able to do a couple to demonstrate them. I do need to be able to. So that's the same with outdoor stuff. You need to be able to run a decent distance and look good doing it.
Yeah.
You need to, if you're going to do Muay Thai, you need to be able to do it. You need to look awesome, which you do. You look at Brandon doing it, it's great. You're demonstrating push-up and make sure you're doing it perfect. Yeah. Do we have anything else? There's lots we can talk about session planning, and we will ongoing when we start looking at plans every week. It'll be either me or Tom, probably usually me, I'd say, because you're going to be caught up with wows and videos and stuff. But they may catch you during the week when I'm not here. What do you think of this? So I'll go into more detail about that ongoing, like timing, flow, how long is this going to take? It's the most rewarding thing doing group sessions. Really.
And the group session, how long would it be? Will it take? How long is the Saturday session?
Well, it's an hour. We say an hour. But by the time, so warm up, stretches, because I do all these shuttles and I do some dynamic movements, range of motion, leg swings. Takes around about 12-15 minutes by the time everybody gets there and you go through all that. So you need to plan 40 minutes of solid content, and then we're going to cool down and that type of thing. So 40 minutes every week is what you're planning. So when you write your session plan, it will look something like this. The date. Warm up, you don't need to specify because another trainer will be doing that. It'll be done exactly the same way every time. That's, and I'll explain that at the start. The reason we do that is because it works. It gets everybody ready and the same level of readiness as each other. It's a no-brainer. They can do it mindlessly. They just get out there and they just go through the motion so they can have a little bit of communication while they're doing it. Two, you might go, okay, you might do a Thai segment, might say, it's going to be 10 to 12 minutes, and then describe what it is there. And you might have your third thing, you might go, okay, this is going to be all core with a description. So it might be 10 to 12 minutes, but it might be by 2 rounds. Then you might finish with a core segment of 10 minutes. 10, 20, 30, add in a little bit for complication. So always put your timing on your session plan. But we will talk about that in more depth later when I've got individual teams. But it's just understanding, variety. Don't be scared to research, use other people's ideas. Learn from how it works on the day. Sometimes, I don't know if anybody's ever experienced it, I have. Most group sessions are awesome, they're great feeling, but I've had a few duds where I'm just like, That was so hard. I don't know what happened. I don't know whether it was the way I wrote the plan. I don't know if it was the people I had, but it just didn't work. So there's that analysing after what went wrong. Is there any, I don't think we need to cover anything else now, but if you have any questions? All right, thank you. I know that's a lot of talking, but I do want to cover everything this challenge.